Family, friends, loved ones, and of course, our graduating class of 2026, congratulations. Over your years of training, you've learned to diagnose and treat patients, to design experiments and interpret results, to untangle complex challenges. You've grown, you've persevered, you've adapted over and over again. You succeeded because of your dedication to your chosen fields, your immense abilities, and of course, the support you received along the way. You've earned this moment, and I hope you take it all in. Each year, I have the profound privilege of offering advice to our graduates in advance of their next steps. As I prepared for today, one topic I kept returning to was the future, a subject I suspect all of you have been pondering of late. The celebrations that will follow, future residencies, future research, perhaps even the destinations along the full arc of your life. Each of you has boundless opportunities. Of that, I am sure. And yet, seemingly more than in past years, looking to the future means peering through uncertainty. There was a time, which I think most of us can remember somewhat longingly, when the previous year was in many respects a reliable indicator of what the next would bring. Today, we're living in a disorienting moment where societal and generational shifts are playing out in real time. I don't need to remind anyone of this, least of all our graduates. You've lived it. From the pandemic to polarization to a revolution in artificial intelligence that's still in its infancy but already transforming our society, you've experienced viscerally the vertigo that accompanies each new breakthrough and every new headline. And I'm not just saying this as a person who's studied vertigo in my scientific and clinical career, but here's what I do want to say clearly. The effects of uncertainty and the disruption with which it is associated should not be what distinguish you. Rather, your future should be defined by what you choose to do amidst this disorienting period of change. You've chosen paths that were already demanding and have challenged you in so many ways. Through experiences in the classroom, in laboratories, in clinical settings, you've built the single most important belief in life, the belief in yourself. You've learned that even when faced with uncertainty that can be chilling, you can move forward, make plans, and find a way to thrive, not just survive. So my ask of each of you today is simple. I want each of you to take that mindset, that approach to the future out into the world, and then inspire it in others. In so doing, you inspire hope. There's never been a more urgent need for this kind of leadership. Our future depends upon it. Last year, Gallup surveyed 30,000 people around the world about what they needed most from leaders. The top answer wasn't trust, it wasn't compassion, it wasn't stability, it was hope. The kind of hope that connects people to a future that they cannot yet see clearly. The kind of hope that inspires and motivates us even when uncertainty and ambiguity are impacting every aspect of our lives. How do you lead like that, especially when the path forward is so opaque, so unclear? At the height of the pandemic, I found myself sitting with these questions. In fact, they're what led me to pursue something of a personal investigation. Over the past several years, I've started sitting down with leaders from biomedicine, from business, from the public sector, to ask them what they've learned in leading through change and disruption. What I discovered surprised me, not in the specifics, but in the consistency of the themes and the messages. They're stories of coordinated teams conquering complexity, of successful but challenging pivots, of breakthrough moments. These stories all mapped back to 3 principles. And today I'd like to share these principles with you. First, listen with intention. Legendary Stanford basketball coach Tara Vanderveer, and we are, by the way, on the Tara Vanderveer court here in Maples Pavilion. Coach Vanderveer once told me that leadership is about helping people reach places they can't get to by themselves. Helping people reach places they can't get to by themselves. That idea stayed with me. And over the course of my conversations, I've come to appreciate that the most important quality in a great leader is to listen with intention. Because you cannot help people get somewhere new without understanding where they are. In your careers, you'll face incomplete data, unclear diagnoses, ambiguous results. Actively listening to patients, to colleagues, to communities reveals what measurements cannot. It shows you the potential that others may miss. Ambition stifled by limited capacity. Bold thinkers without a platform. Listening shines light on where real problems reside and on opportunities that truly matter. In a few minutes, you'll hear from Lily Serafin, our keynote speaker, a Stanford graduate and chair of our university's Board of Trustees. Lily will offer her own advice, anchored in her experience of listening to seniors and their families to establish a new model for senior care based on dignity and independence. The next principle, build community. In my early years at Stanford, I was fortunate to call the late Bill Meehan a friend and mentor. He was an inspiration to many, and his lectures at the Stanford Graduate School of Business were must-see events. In 2016, the GSB's graduating class selected him to give their last lecture, an honor bestowed upon a faculty member in which they deliver the lecture they would give if it was their last. Bill focused on leadership as service, teaching that caring for and caring about people is the foundation upon which good societies and strong institutions are built. Wherever your careers take you next, you'll be invited into new spaces and new communities. The most effective leaders are those who invest in nurturing and uplifting people around them, not in heroic acts, but more often than not, in the small and unseen moments. Think of the mentor who checked in on you during your hardest rotation, the colleague whose advice turned a vexing challenge into an elegant design, the classmate who reached out to you at just the right time. Whether as a team leader or a respected peer, you have an opportunity through words and actions to cultivate strong bonds that will enable you to overcome and achieve far more than would be possible alone. Finally, third principle, leaders act with conviction even in the face of uncertainty. Hope is the product of intentional courage. Inspiring hope in others means first activating it within yourself, moving forward even when certainty is elusive. Now, this may not come naturally, especially on your hardest days when you're exhausted, when the system feels broken, and when answers simply won't come. Yet, when you practice hope, you don't just sustain yourself, you inspire it in others. Your patients, your colleagues, your teams, they will take their cues from you. Your steadiness gives them permission to keep going. Your courage makes their hope possible. Your vision inspires them to follow. Today, you've reached a place you couldn't have gotten to alone. Your mentors, colleagues, classmates, and loved ones helped you to reach this milestone. They listened when it mattered. They were the community that sustained you. They modeled hope in moments when your own may have dimmed. They led you to this moment. Now it is your turn. Very soon, you'll walk across this stage into a world that needs all that you can offer. Not just your expertise in the disciplines you've studied these past many years, but the hope you'll inspire through your leadership. And indeed, there is so much to be hopeful about. I firmly believe that the best and most exhilarating years for biomedicine remain ahead of us. And it's all possible if you unlock that potential. Your achievements and the incredible places you will reach and to which you will guide others are what give me great hope and optimism for the future. Congratulations, class of 2026.